Good morning. So I learned something, a lesson, a valuable lesson a few months ago. I was walking, doing my daily morning walk, run, and I noticed this gentleman who walks his dog around the same time every morning. And he was a neighbor. Um, I would see him, and we weren't cordial. I would just wave to him. He would wave back. This particular day, I decided to introduce myself. I wanted to become, more acquainted with him. And we were walking down this same path. He was coming towards me, and I was coming toward him. And as he approached, I said, "How you doing? My name is Chris." And he said, "Oh yeah, my name is." And so of course, he was walking his dog. So I knelt down and uh, put my hand toward the dog, because when you greet a dog, you don't just start petting him or her. You just kind of put your hand forward like this, so it could sniff you and know that you're friendly or not a danger. And so I did that, and I noticed the dog just kept sniffing the ground, like he was ignoring me. I'm like, okay, it's a dog. Um, but I would always notice the dog when the owner would walk him. He would always just be like sniffing the ground, just doing this. Never looked up, never looked to the left, right. Always was sniffing the ground like on a mission. And so I'm thinking, it's a dog. It's just using his senses, like every dog, just to, I guess, to get, to be able to navigate around his area or whatever, and so forth. So when I did that, I was like, okay. And then I kind of felt some way about the dog, like, "Man, I'm here to pet you. You gonna ignore me like that?" Like the dog was like, "Look, dude, I ain't got time for you." So the owner was looking at me, and I felt like it. He said, "Oh, by the way, the dog is blind." I'm like, "Ooh, okay." So he says the only way he will know that you are present or there is by his sense of smell. I was like, "Wow, that's the first time I've ever heard of a blind dog." I was like, "Okay." So then I felt bad. I was like, "Ooh," I had all these thoughts about the dog. Like, man, if I see this dog in the street, we're gonna have some words. You gonna ignore me like that? Oh, but the owner was like, "No, I felt bad. Like he could see the look of like sadness just came over me. Oh, like I felt bad for the dog. Seriously." The owner was like, "Oh." I was like, "Was he okay?" He's like, "Oh, he good. He it don't it doesn't change his no pun intended quote his outlook on life. Uh, he's acting like a normal dog. He's just his sense are more heightened in uh, his sense of smell now because he's blind." I was like, "Wow." And so the gentleman was like, "Look, you know," he's like, "The dog's not worried about anything." He said, "It's humans." He said, "Sometimes animals, when they lose a limb or they lose they're disfigured or whatever, they go about it like it's nothing, and they continue on their daily regimen. They keep doing what they do. They don't let it stop them." I'm kind of paraphrasing. It's been a long time since we had the conversation, but he was like, "Yeah, the dog ain't worried about nothing. It's the humans that think it's a big deal. The dog is cool. It's like things we worry about is really minuscule when it comes to in this situation to pets when they have this issues like that." So I walked off from that conversation. I thought about that this morning. I was like, "Wow, that's a lesson to learn from a blind dog." And it's kind of uh, I kind of look at it in our lives how we're not perfect people. We are flawed in a certain way. You may be you may think because you have the looks, the status, the money, the fame, big house, 2 cars, you know, whatever, that you're not flawed. But there is a flaws. We're all flawed in a certain way. It may not be the look. Some of us are flaws. Like I have some that are outwardly shown. In other words, I can't hide them, or we can't hide them. Some of us have physical flaws that we can't hide, and we have to deal with that every day. And you know, and some of us, I know with me, I have flaws, and I have grown up from a, you know, just growing up, I've always felt ashamed. And you know what I learned from that situation was, you know, you have to learn to you really just have to ignore it and keep going, whatever flaw you have. It may be present, it may be mental, but sometimes you just gotta, like that dog, keep your nose to the ground and focus on your goals, and don't allow your flaws to dictate how you will advance in life, or don't allow others to pick on you or point, you know, or expose your outcomings to make you feel as though you are less than, or I'm better than you, or wow, look at your flaws, look at that, you know, or try to judge you accordingly on external flaws. Now, I told you I talk a lot about mental health, and one thing about mental health is that's something when it comes to flaws or certain things about us that we're not proud of. In reference to mental health, you really can't tell from the external what you're looking at in a human being if they have a flaw, you know, mentally, or if they have something. You can't tell outwardly, externally. But there are people that have it all together externally, but internally they have many flaws. And sometimes we put our mental health on the back burner when you're depressed, or when you're anxious, or something you've been suffering with. We just try to fix, or we just try to, and I know I'm kind of contradicting myself, because I did say kind of ignore it, but I mean, when I say ignore it, I'm saying don't allow it to rear its ugly head in your pathway when you are going for a goal. That's what I meant. I'm not saying dismiss it. So even with mental health, man, we people, again, they can look normal and they have flaws mentally, and you have to address them at the same time as you address them, whether it be through counseling or therapy or just self-care. Even as you address them, understand that you're not the only one. And like I said, you know, going back to that dog, the dog was like minding his own business, and I had to bend down and I had to accommodate the dog and try to build a friendship. So I was working to gain this dog's approval. I'm gonna be honest, the dog didn't give a damn about me. So I was like, okay, he was minding his business. Like, I'm good. My life is good. My master is here. I'm getting fed. I have a home. I'm straight. What's your problem? So I was like, wow, I got more problems than this dog. It seemed like I'm exacerbating my problems or blowing them up worse than this dog. Don't even care. So we gotta kind of be like that. We just gotta be like, put our nose to the grind, and and keep moving, and don't sway to the left or to the right. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get distracted, and keep your nose to the grind and stay focused. Yeah, we have flaws. Nobody's perfect on this planet, and if they think they are, they're crazy. The one thing about media, I'm into media and you know, and so forth, is this or entertainment industry, is this facade. When we look at singers, actresses, models, and so on, the entertainment industry is meant to put this facade on before the public, as if this is how you should be, like this person. You should sing or act, or if you don't have this type of money, because that person has it and you don't, you're perfect. They're perfect and you're not, and they want you to try to balance that. So, if you really buy into that, it can affect your self-esteem in many ways. So again, nose to the grind. Stay focused. Keep moving forward. Don't look to the left, to the right. Be in tune. Stay in tune with you. And yes, acknowledge and accept that you have flaws. That's fine. And guess what? Sometimes that flaw that you have in your life can also perpetuate, or it's early, sorry, the good things about you. So just like that dog, or it can extend other strengths in you. So just like the dog was physically handicapped, that couldn't see. However, the nose senses were more heightened. So then that's just like scientific fact. When with human beings, when we have a loss in sense of taste or smell, or we lose an arm, whatever, some type of bodily injury that causes a lifetime of injury or something like that, it strengthens the other parts of the body. So whatever that energy was on that arm that you might have, it might have to, maybe it has to be amputated. Well, it's going to strengthen the other joints of the body parts. Or if you are blind, it can heighten the senses of the other senses, the other four senses. So, man, if you have a flaw in one area of your life and it ain't been working, it's not working, and if you don't want to work on it right now, you want to stay focused, work on the other areas of your life, strengthen those areas, and and just keep moving. So yeah, just want to give you that little word of advice or word of inspiration. Learning from a blind dog. Like I said, the dog was like, "I'm good. What about you, dog?" The dog just paying. He buying his business. Like, what's his problem? So you got to be like that. You got to be like, I know I ain't perfect. I know I ain't the most handsomest. I know I may not be the most attractive. I know I don't have the good hair. I know I may be dark skin or too dark for your liking. I may be too light skinned. I may be too fat. I may be too skinny. Okay, so what? I'm good in what I am. I'm good in my skin. What's up with you? All right, y'all. Peace. Thanks.